Welcome to the Real Estate Revival podcast. We have incredible people who are doing real things in real estate, real Canadians with real results, making real effort. Everything is real. We're not here to fabricate. We're here to get people equipped and growing. And I have an awesome guest today on today's podcast episode, the one and only Mr. Jonathan Sandor. So give it up for Jonathan Sandor. Jonathan, welcome to the Real Estate Results Revival podcast. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, I'm really proud of you for taking a huge leap for you and your family. You're doing real estate. You're in my hometown of Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And I'd like to take the next few minutes and really have people know you, who you are, what gets you going, and how you kind of got into real estate, your goals, and etc. So let's kind of dive right in, Jonathan. Give us some of your background, would you? Like, what is your career before real estate?
Sure. Yeah. So actually, by trade, I work as an RN. I've worked in many healthcare settings, from even disability support worker, working in acute care, long-term care, telehealth. So I've done it all, seen it all, and helped heal it all, I guess.
Very clever. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
not bad, eh? So yeah, from healthcare, I've always had a knick-knack. More so, what resonated with me as a younger adult was the term residual income. So from that, I actually did a network marketing company, and their whole selling point was once when your client pays their phone bill, you get paid. You get paid essentially. So every time someone pays their bill, you get paid. So that resonated with me. From then, I used that knowledge to get into the rental market, thinking of getting residual rental income. A friend of mine, the way it started was he had his house, and I was actually renting a room from him, and he was renting it to other students as well. And I just thought, hey, I could do this as well, and just make it my way. And that's how I got into the real estate agent, or in the real estate business, just mainly with rentals and student rentals. And then I saw this, and now I kind of want to diversify and get more into with this little cash shortage, work on some wholesale and flip deals to balance out my portfolio.
Let's go down a little memory lane. I just want to get back to this moment in time that we've all gone to. The phone company, was it ACN? Yeah, buddy. Okay, yeah. Shout out to everybody doing ACN. Let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit, because I've also been there, my friend. I remember walking into Caboto Club, and there was this speaker at the Caboto Club in Windsor, Ontario, and they're like, do you want to get wealthy? And we're all like, yeah. And they're like, do you want a business that even a billionaire will endorse? And we're like, yeah. And then they played a video with Donald Trump talking about how great the telecommunications industry is and how it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we're like, this is great. And they're like, all you have to do is sell all of your family and friends this phone plan. And they were like, we have new technology that no one's ever had. And they're like, they pulled out this big old phone, and it had a screen on it. Remember? Yeah. And they're like, this is the first video screen. And we were like, oh my goodness, this is going to change the game. And then, we started selling phones, right? And so I remember that. It was exciting times. You know what it taught me, though? It taught me how to get in front of people and sell. Yeah. That's what it taught me. It taught me how to put myself out there and sell. What were the benefits? We're just going to talk about multi-level marketing for a second. What were your benefits, or what was your thing that you got out of doing MLM?
Mainly, just residual income and just the power of positive word of references, right? Word of mouth. If you had a good product that sold itself and that people loved, they'll sell it for you, or they'll market it for you, not even knowing it. So that kind of resonated with me. I was actually 17 when I got introduced to it. So I actually had to use a lawyer, to help me get into it, because I was considered a minor, so I couldn't own any businesses, right? But I was hungry for money. I knew there was something out there that I wasn't exposed to, especially coming from like a immigrant family.
Yeah.
It was more just exchanging your time for money. And then, yeah, I just knew there was more out there. If someone else can do it, I just got to search for it.
Man, that was a crazy time going around to your friends and family selling phone plans. And, I got my dad on the phone plan and I was like, Dad, we can talk to each other and see each other. You just got to plug in the phone. It's a VoIP service. And then I remember I went to a guy, I sat him down. He was from China and he looks at me and he's like, we've had this technology for 5 years. And then that's when I knew that company was dead. We were dead in the waters, right? So like I realized we were like just using an old product because in China they already had phones with video cameras and everybody's cell phone has a video camera and all of that. But isn't there an excitement, Jonathan, to being a young entrepreneur, to like getting a product and getting your hands on something? What's that feeling for you when you were doing ACN?
I just felt it was a great learning experience, and it was just how business works and even just communicating with people and networking with other people, and also just being there for other people, and eventually they'll be there for you, kind of thing. So yeah, I wasn't successful in that business because of my age, and a lot of people just brushed me off trying to sell them stuff. I still sold some things, but I wasn't successful like the other average person. But definitely it was a great learning experience, and yeah, that's kind of how I launched my my other mindsets in real estate and the residual income aspect.
Well, to be fair, okay, I was probably the average seller of that stuff, and I didn't make any money either. I think I got a check for 17 cents. And so I don't know if the average person made any real money, but yet we all saw the car, the guy who drove the Porsche is like, wow, you're crushing it. And so that experience, I sold that. I don't know about you, but I also sold this drink called Fruta Vita, which is basically just like communion wine, like the fake communion wine that's Welch's grape juice. It was that, but didn't taste as good. And so you're supposed to take a shot of this thing every day to help your immune system. And so we all started drinking this little grape drink instead of eating food. And we were like, wow, we lost weight. I don't know if you've done any of that stuff. It's like, this is really great for my health benefits. We'll just starve ourselves and drink this juice. All right.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool when you're 18, 17, because it builds this entrepreneurial vibe. And so when I found real estate, I don't know, give me your experience, but when I found real estate, it was like, hey, this is like a real foundational product. Like no one's going to get, some disease from this juice. No one has to sign up for this phone plan that's obsolete next week. Like this business, I found this like permanence with real estate. And so that's why I got really excited, because I loved growth and I loved, doing things, but I was always felt I was in a vehicle that was just transitionary. I don't know what your thought is. What was it for you? Because you already bought some real estate. What was it for you getting your first property? Did you feel that way, or what was your general like enthusiasm about it or feeling about it?
It was I don't know, it was a feeling of accomplishment just because I did buy it at a young age, I thought. And I wasn't like looked at as probably being a successful person in high school. Mm-hmm. So I just thought, hey, I've come a long way. I bought a house at a young age. I'm making some good moves, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was kind of from living with my friend, seeing him doing it, I just knew, I could do that and just do it better. So yeah, it was going into it, I was just optimistic more so, and just thinking of how I can multiply, get 10 student rentals kind of thing. But now I'm looking for wholesale flips, but I still like the student market as well. But it was just my stepping stone, right?
That's right. And it's cool to watch you grow. Like we're both from the same kind of hometown, and so it's pretty small hometown. So I remember like people like Jonathan Sandor like come to the church, and so I kind of knew you through the grapevine. I think you are my brother's or sister's age, and so there's always this group of kids always kind of hanging around, and so I was like, oh yeah, I know Jonathan Sandor. So then when we saw each other as like more adults, I was like, I know this guy. I like this guy. He's a good dude. So you went to school, you became a medical professional. Let's talk about the maybe more difficulties or realities of trying to be a real estate investor. What was your first few deals like, trying to juggle your career and trying to juggle real estate? What was that experience like for you and your family?
Well, so I got my second student rental actually a month before I got married, and
Nice.
my wife wasn't too happy about that.
Why?
But well, I didn't really run it by her, to be honest. I was in like I was shopping for a student rental. She knew I was in the market for it.
Okay.
But I was actually on a trip, like a bachelor's trip in British Columbia when I actually made the purchase.
Mm.
I just had my realtor. I already did a walkthrough through it. I was, it fit my buy box for what I wanted for student rentals. I could fit a lot of rooms in it, and it was a big 2-story house with a deep basement too. That had it needed a lot of work, and I was looking for a complete tear down and totally renovated the way I wanted to be maintenance friendly. So yeah, I got married a month later, and then the next day I was doing renovations, demoing the place. Yeah, just jumped right into the deep end. I never did a complete reno to that extent. Like I did everything, like plumbing, electrical, everything to the stud, because it had even like knob and tube wiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did exterior waterproofing because my whole mindset was I'm going to hold this for 30 years, make it as, do everything right once now, and then, for the next 20, 30 years, it's a pretty easily maintained property. So right now I'm enjoying it. I've had it for 5 years. I just have a cleaning lady that comes once a week. I got 8 students in there. So it's pretty easy to rent because it is well maintained and well renovated. So I kind of stick out compared to the other student rentals. So I'm not one of those slumlords. I have nice properties with students that are there to study, and so yeah, that's kind of my selling point.
No party house. No party house. Well,
No, I'm always up front. This is a studious
yeah.
place, and yeah,
I
no.
like that. I should put that in the advertisement. Like, this is a studious place, right? That'll attract the right. That's qualification right there. That's
Well,
awesome.
I usually say preference given to nursing students or engineering students because
Okay,
I know they're usually too busy to party anyway. So,
I got you.
or grad students, right?
I got you. Well, I was in the music program, so all the kids in my program, they just played with their trombones all day, and so they had nothing else to do. And so don't go in the
Yeah,
music program. That's not it. Just so we
yeah.
know, just a life hack. Don't go to music
No,
school.
no psych or social students or any of
That's
those
right. That's right.
communications. They
So
have
that's
too much money
interesting.
to party.
So you buy your second property, get married, and you're like, "Hey, for our honeymoon, we're gonna go drywall this place." And your wife's probably like, "Great idea. That sounds like a blast." And so I actually bought my third property the week before we got married, and my wife and I moved into it, but we didn't have hydro. And so when we moved in, we just had the mattress, no bed frame, nothing. And so I was like, "Watch
Wow.
this. We're gonna go ahead and put some candles out. We're gonna order some pizza." And so the first night we just slept on the floor in the living room on a mattress, had some pizza, had some candles. It was great. It was amazing. It was really enjoyable time living in that duplex. So there's that young excitement, right? Where we decide to go and hardcore and do it all ourselves. And you're
That's it.
waterproofing, and your wife's doing drywall probably. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And so,
She
right?
helped with the painting.
Okay, got you. How does because I'm going to say something, like you have been in our community for a while, and you're an awesome, like, just great coachable student, and you're very productive in your thinking and willing to work towards an outcome, and that's very admirable from a coach's standpoint, because you become a really effective student, and that makes coaching fun, right? At what point did your mindset kind of shift from I'm just going to work super hard to, hey, maybe I'm going to be coachable and go and turn this into a bigger business? Was there a turning point for you, or an event that happened, or how did you get to that conclusion? Now, which is 5 years after you've started.
Well, pretty much I maxed myself out when it came to trying to buy properties with my own money. And then, I reached my limit. And then pretty much from the grapevine, I heard about you, from actual guys that were doing renovations in my properties, guys from, Parkwood as well. and yeah, they were just kept saying, yeah, Ben's doing this, Ben's doing that. And then just so happened, maybe my, phone was listening. A few weeks later, you got the Robert Kiyosaki, the original, your first, revival, episode, right? So yeah, from there I was like, oh man, if this guy can get Robert Kiyosaki, he obviously has something going on or knows something about the real estate game. And yeah, just recently I was reading his book too. So it was just 1+1=2. Let's check this out. And I did actually, before your community, I was thinking about other real estate communities. They just didn't resonate as well. And you weren't as personable with your coaches. It felt more detached and more just, a money grab. So this one really resonated with me. There, the fact that you can have one-on-one with the guy who is in charge of the community, really spoke to me, as well as I've known you, and your family since growing up. So it was just, easier for me to jump into this community as well.
Yeah, and we're so glad to have you. It's been a pleasure. And I know how it is. Like, there's speaking of Robert Kiyosaki, so he came to our event. He spoke. I've met him a couple times. Nice guy. We've had some some fun conversations. He's a character. He's up there in age, and so it's interesting. And but he's also had an education company in the past. Rich Dad Education's been a thing, and when I first started, I was actually in the Rich Dad Education. I joined one of their programs back at 23 years old. And I don't know if I told him this story, but I joined and I was overzealous, and I started, it was a stock trading program, and I ended up losing $25,000 on the stock trading program from Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so I've never told him that. And I proceeded to lose more than that. And then so I got serious into real estate because I couldn't make it as a day trader at 23 years old, right? And so it lit a fire under me to go and make sure that I never put myself in a position to lose money again. And so I had to pick a vehicle that was more stable and less risky, and something that my personality could handle, because I'm excitable and I want to get things done. And so I'm better off doing real estate, because you don't trade them like marbles or Pokemon cards. You just buy them and you sell them, and they're pretty safe assets, and we like it long term. By the way, if you have like this crazy personality like me, do real estate. Okay, don't jump into drop shipping or something, because you need something stable long term, which is super important. And so for you, Jonathan, okay, you're doing real estate, you're doing this with your family, you're in the medical field. You and I have known each other for a while. I want to touch on something you said probably in our first conversation that was interesting to me. You said, hey, a lot of people that we grew up with know who you are, even family, friends, and whatever. Why are they not doing what you're doing? Like, why are you the guy who did 300 deals, and then there's people that we both know that are not even remotely interested? And that was it struck me very interesting. Can you articulate that? Like, what do you think it is where people can watch somebody else do the thing and become successful, yet still ignore it or choose not to do it themselves, when it's obviously an answer for financial freedom? What is that?
Great question. I don't know. Maybe I think it's just fear, and fear. They don't have any trust in themselves, and they just fear failure more so than us, I guess. I failed a lot of things. I failed a lot of classes, and I think I'm okay with failure, because I know it makes me better in the future. Like, obviously, I don't pursue failures, but I'm not afraid to get my feet wet. And yeah, if it doesn't work out, sure, I'll try another thing. But I've always known that some way, somehow, I can make a buck and grind it out, or hustle in some way, shape, or form to get the money I need to get, or get the deal I need to get. I think it's just that grinding mentality, and just not being a person that can just tread water and jump in the deep end, and be able to have a hardened mindset, and be okay with the possibility of failure, but also being okay with working your butt off and doing what you have to do to not fail. And yeah, I think also just coming from a immigrant family too, just, even if you don't want to do it, you have to do it. So just do it.
That's an interesting question because I think a lot of our audience would be interested in that. So I go back to part of the definition of the word pride. And the part of the definition of the word pride is an excessive self-esteem or an excessive desire for self-esteem. And so to me, the word pride is that I'm not secure in my identity. And so I'm going to require a lot of validation and an excessive amount of self-esteem to compensate for the fact that I really don't feel secure in who I am. And so if you have a lot of pride, anything that looks like failure robs you of self. And so it's I can't take a chance on something. I can't possibly look foolish. I can't possibly try something and not succeed because that would jeopardize my self-view. And so my self-view is so fragile that I need constant validation, and I need as much as I can to amplify my view of self so that I cannot live with these feelings of inadequacy, right? And so pride is the enemy. It really is. And we often look at pride as like, you got to have a lot of pride. And I think you have to have a reasonable amount of pride. Like be comfortable with your achievements and be comfortable with your identity and be willing to say you're not perfect and be willing to say that some things I'm good at and some things I'm not good at. And so I think that there's a need or an excess need for self-esteem. And so we don't try. So pride is the enemy of why people, I think, don't do the work. And then the cousin of pride is arrogance. It's the assumption that something is greater than it is. And so you say that I'm deserving of more than I have received. I'm better than other people. I'm more entitled, more deserving. I'm inherently better. I'm at a different level. And so that when you have the surplus of arrogance and pride, those two make a dangerous combination for personal development. Like they don't allow you the level of perspective to fix yourself. And so I think the word humility is a beautiful and adequate word. And humility is not the absence of hungry in the absence of work ethic. Humility is saying, I'm willing to lower my version of self to allow for growth and improvement, that there would be a better future self. And so present self isn't the thing I have to maintain. Future self is the thing I have to develop. And so there's a mindset of development and a mindset of stewarding your growth. And so when you have the humility to say, I'm just learning, it's okay. And you're willing to reduce the level of entitlements and say, it's okay if I fail. I don't deserve to win. I deserve to try. Like I have the opportunity to win. I have the opportunity to compete. I have the opportunity to grow in my personal development. And so I think humility is such a core superpower because it gives you so much more latitude. It doesn't matter if you look foolish to other people. It doesn't matter if you fail again. It doesn't matter if you try and don't succeed on the very first time. It doesn't matter if you're not perfect, because perfectionism is killing progress right now. And so I accept, like Shelley says, that I don't know everything, and nor if I knew everything, what else would there be left to learn? So rant over. Exactly. I think what it is for people that we know and people that, if you want to make money, why not take the most clear, obvious path? If you want to build wealth, why not own a vehicle, an asset that is designed to build wealth? Why not own as much real estate as you can own? Well, it's pride and arrogance. Otherwise, it's very unjustifiable to say, I would rather trade 40 years of my time to compensate for the 5 or 10 years that I could have traded buying assets that did the heavy lifting for me. I'll just trade the rest of my time because I was not willing to sacrifice some of my entitlements, attitude, whatever. And so it's back to the Dave Ramsey or many other thought leaders. Trade a few years now and do the things most people won't do. And I'll end with this. It's not really a sacrifice, is it? Because we're going to trade 5 years working anyways. Why in the world would you not work on something that's highly productive that will grow in value over time? Why not plant better quality crops so that you'll have a better quality harvest? That makes way more sense to me than saying, well, instead of planting crops, why don't I just continue to work hourly, never plant anything and eat whatever's there and never reinvest, never replant? And so my thing is this: work for 5 years now and take advantage of the fact that time is on your side when you own assets. Time is your enemy when you don't. right? So, Jonathan, I admire you for saying, you know what? I'm young enough. I can do this business now. Because, Jonathan, I got people who are 50 years old, 60 years old, and they're like, you know what? I kind of wasted 30 working years just working, trading my time for money and never built anything. So, what is it like for you, a young guy, to make a commitment to like build a business now while you're in the middle of your career? What is the mindset for you, or where does humility work itself into your thinking? And obviously the arrogance and the pride has to take a backseat. Walk us through your version of that.
Well, to be honest, I just want to retire young and not have to do the 30 or 30 years and, get a pension and the traditional, working class, middle class person. That, and also I just don't have a lot of faith in the future. And I find that real estate's the best leverage for inflation and just to protect yourself and your well-being. As an RN, there were some challenges even during COVID that, made a lot of, pushed a lot of people to the limits. And sometimes there weren't even securities in that industry that, most people would think was recession proof. Sometimes you can't always, rely on your career. So this was kind of like my plan B, but soon to be plan A. And yeah, I don't want to, be the person that has to keep contributing to a pension plan or something like that. I want to be in control of my future, and hopefully I can retire young and have time to spend with my kids. That was another thing too. Is sure, a lot of people work overtime, make a lot of money, making six figures, but they have no time with their kids. The biggest priority for me, I got two little ones now as well, so I want to have a comfortable living, but I also want to be present as a father as well. Take them to their soccer games, music practices, whatever. Just being present and having that ability to be comfortable, but be present as well. That's my mindset.
Yeah. I'm a believer, Jonathan, that you can have it all if you do it better. And so if you want to have limited options, well, then have limited efficiency. And so most people don't operate with efficiency. They just operate out of emotions and out of condition. And so they say, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to make some money. I'm probably going to blow most of it on just living. And so I can't ever grow because I'm barely surviving. And so to get out of that pattern, of that conditioned pattern, you're never going to make enough money because the spending habits are too high, and then you have income creep. And so you just create these patterns in your life of make some, spend some, waste some. And then you feel like you need to go work because that becomes your conditioning. And so we don't often ask better quality questions like, why are we working for 40 years? Well, we all have to do some level of work, but wouldn't it be more prudent to just work way, way smarter? And so wouldn't it be valuable to get wisdom from people who have come before you and people who have done what you want to do? Isn't it more valuable to acquire wisdom and acquire strategy and acquire insight, and then apply those things to your life so that you don't have to have unnecessary struggle? Like if your parents struggled with money, why do you? You have the opportunity to change that. And so there's no hereditary struggle that you have to endure and have to embrace. If they struggled, struggle less until your generations don't struggle. Right? We have to go from struggle. One generation will get to survive, and the next one will get the surplus. And then the one in surplus needs to make sure that the surplus doesn't go to waste. Right? And so that's the nature of the game. And so, Jonathan, I think it's a very characteristic and a very important thing that we as men make a decision to honor the family that we've had, the parents that we've had, but also make a distinct decision that, hey, we want to have a different type of legacy because now you have to carry the mantle and you have to hold this torch. And so create financial success. We live in a world in this day and age where everything is digital, everything is available. All the information you can have access to is available right now through AI. All the opportunities are present and visible. And so the only reason somebody would not succeed in real estate today is they failed to apply themselves. There's no limited resources. There's no limited information. There's no limited access. What there is are people who are becoming limited by their own lack of resourcefulness. And so remove your dependency on other people and build an independent attitude. I think if you're a 30, 40, 50-year-old man, I'm just going to speak to men for a second, you have to have your own original thoughts. You have to have your own ideas and your own activities, and you have to make a claim for what you want in this world, and don't be a version of another person. Do what you need to do for you and your family, because when you're 90 years old, you're not going to be able to rest on the fact that, well, that's just what I learned how to do. You're an old man. You should have learned what to do. You had your entire life to do it better. And so we have to, speaking to men, because that's who I am, we cannot be victims of a system. You have to make a decision in your life to be a winner, be a victor, not a victim. And so I'm like you, Jonathan. I do not have faith in a government system. I don't, because I was born in a communist system, which wasn't working, completely broken, and I escaped illegally and found refuge. And so I don't believe that the government will provide for me. I don't believe that me being a good citizen is the answer to solving my financial well-being. I don't believe that the government will do it for me. I also don't believe that if I have a job, that my employer will do it for me. So I don't believe that anyone else will control your financial destiny but you. And so Jonathan has to do what Jonathan can only do. Step out in faith and build his own empire, build his own assets, build his own financial future, because Jonathan has to build a financial moat around his financial life. And that's how Jonathan will create a fortress, a financial fortress. And Kiyosaki is right, dude. Those that own assets are the rich. Those that don't will become the poor. The value of your dollar is not going to grow. It's only going to shrink. And so, Jonathan, I commend you for stepping out in faith. And you know what? You and I have a similar attitude towards the establishment. Is that I'm not relying on you to take care of me. Thank you for giving me a government that allows me to work. The greatest thing Canada has done for me is give me the opportunity and the freedom to work. That's all I ever needed. Okay?
Yep.
I don't care if we pay more tax than our American friends. It's not that relevant. And I don't care if we don't have, all the other laws and things that, other countries have. We have an incredibly robust real estate economy. We have an incredibly opportunistic season right now in Canada to buy discounted real estate. And so if you're looking at Canada like, oh, this isn't the greatest place, you're wrong. Canada has a great opportunity right now. So does America. All right. They both work. North America has a great real estate landscape. And so I guess back to you, Jonathan. What's your view of the future? What's your goal for you and your family in the next few years to come that you're putting all this effort, blood, sweat, and tears into? What do you want to see happen here?
I just want to start just accumulating deals, accumulating rentals and flips and wholesale deals. Position myself to be financially free, and also, to be able to, move freely, have multiple options, whatever, comes our way, be able to have multiple options to go to other places, or even just venture, whatever we want to do. I want to be able to at least have the opportunity to be able to say, fuck it, let's do it. to at least have some money in the bank to be able to do that, and have some security for my future generations, and then also to leverage myself to hold as much money as possible, and to be in the best tax-friendly business that's possible, which is another thing. Like, as an RN, sure, I make six figures, but 30 to 35% of it goes to the government. But in the real estate market, you can make 6-7 figures and hold on to most of it, because the tax incentives are, astronomically, better in business than as a, individual, making your own individual income.
Yeah.
Those are the two main things: just financial freedom, and then the tax freedom.
Okay. Well, specifically to like the nursing community, the young professional community, you already own a couple properties, but having to start all over again, somebody just getting going here. What piece of advice do you feel compelled to share with them? Like, they're just thinking about financial freedom. They haven't purchased any piece of real estate. What would you say if somebody approaches to Jonathan, please help me understand what you understand? What would you say?
I would say get into the market now. If you didn't get into it, or if you were scared during the COVID times with prices going up, now is the best time because prices are going down. And that should alleviate any of your initial anxieties. And then after that, just get a good coach that will help you make the right decisions and prevent you from making the wrong decisions. That in itself pays, exponentially just to avoid mistakes and maximizing profits, especially in this real estate market. That'd be my thing. Just get in it now. Now's the best time. And yeah, if anyone can do it, a nurse can do it. This is one of the best things that you can, change your career path and get into real estate. Your original career doesn't define you. And this is a great way to diversify your income. So do it now and do it ASAP. Don't waste time.
But somebody's listening to you right now on this podcast and going, but Jonathan, you got all the time in the world. You only have one career. You only got 2 kids, right? And so you got time. But Jonathan, I don't have any time. I'm busy. I'm super busy. I don't have the time. What would you say to somebody who looks at you and says, well, you can do it, but I don't have time. Time is a huge excuse. What's your take on I don't have time?
I think that's, just this bullshit. Because just this week, if I could work a full-time job, take care of 2 kids. My father-in-law just passed away, so we had to do funeral arrangements. And I still did this 30-day challenge. So if you can squeeze, 10 minutes of work into 1 minute of time, so be it. You got to do what you got to do. And if you see the opportunity, make time. Get the calendar right in front of you. And once you actually see how much time is in a day, you really only need a few hours to do this thing, and then you can focus on other things at the same time. So I think that's just an excuse and not a good one.
Yeah. Well, I think, Jonathan, you're a role model, especially for young fathers, people who have kids, people who have a desire to have financial prosperity in their life. And we all have some level of fear and some level of excuse. And, I admire you for making a commitment. And I'm sorry for the passing of your father-in-law, and thank you for being with us. I know, I'm sure your family is processing that. And so we're really honored to have you and honored to know you in our community, that we just think you're a great role model for men, especially who, want to do something, but they just haven't done it. They're waiting for more validation, more approval, more something. I don't know. So, thank you for being that guy, and I understand, like, you've got work, you've got family, you've got stuff, you've also got constraints, but somehow you're still doing it, man. And I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. I have to contribute a lot to my upbringing. I think it helps a lot that I came from, second generation Canadian, or first generation Canadian, and coming from an immigrant family. I give a lot of credit to that. That helped me with this mindset of just the grind mindset, right?
Yeah. And we got to do it. Actually, speaking of got to do it, here we go.
Aww.
We all have to have
here we go
a motivation, and sometimes the motivation is we got to do it because we can, and we got these beautiful little humans who are counting on us. Somebody told me that the greatest thing you can do for your kids is make sure your kids see their parents living their dreams, so they have permission to live their own dreams. Mm-hmm. And so don't let your kids watch you quit, because it'll create the story that quitting is acceptable. And so when you make a decision to be all that you can be and do the things you feel called to do, and your children watch, it creates children with great conviction that anything is possible because mom and dad did it. And so I have that same belief. Watch my parents do some incredible things, and it's completely shaped my mindset over the years. And so we're trying to be the best that we can be for these incredible little ones. And so, Jonathan, thank you for being a great inspiration. I'm not saying I had a baby because I saw you having babies and I was kind of jealous, but
no worries. I want more. 2's not enough.
There you go. There you go. Why not have a whole army, right? And be
That's
able
it.
to have time with them and financial resources to support them and care for them and grow them. So yeah, thank you. So father, investor, medical professional, and just all around super good dude, Jonathan Sandor. Thanks so much, man, for being in our group, and thanks for being on the podcast. Where can people connect with you if they'd like to get a hold of you after the show?
They can get a hold of me through Facebook, Instagram, and I can put my contact information in the chat too. I'm always open to chat more and network and just hear your story as well.
Love that. Well, thank you. Guys, this is the Real Estate Revival podcast with real Canadians doing real things, just incredible humans. This was Jonathan Sandor. I'm Ben Humble. Take care. God bless you. Stay humble. Stay hungry. Keep winning. You got this.